What up, YouTube? It's CS back here with another installment, and here's my prediction for episode 24 of Deadliest Warrior, Joan of Arc versus William the Conqueror. But first off, I want to know what y'all thought of the first episode of the season between Napoleon Bonaparte and George Washington. Now you guys can get my 2 cents on that episode if you guys check out my review, so I'll post a link to that somewhere up on the screen. So please check that out and tell me in the comment section below there what you thought of it. But now let's take a look at this ancient matchup between Joan of Arc and William the Conqueror. I think this is pretty much a medieval battle of the sexes, kind of like Jeff Desmoulins said in the first 12 minutes of the episode. If you guys didn't check that out, go do so on spike.com. But there in that first 12 minutes, basically we got to see the backgrounds of both William the Conqueror and Joan of Arc, and of course Joan of Arc's first test, which is her long-range weapon of choice in the form of a siege cannon. Now, folks, because of the fact that I think this is the easiest test to predict, I'm not going to spend that much time on it. Of course, the siege cannon of Joan went up against William the Conqueror's catapult. Now, I think the catapult has the reload time on its side. Of course, you can load as many rocks on that and pull that big spoon or scoop back and keep firing shit. But if you're missing like all day, which I think it's gonna do, it's not gonna get the edge. We saw pretty good accuracy from the siege cannon. Of course, with gunpowder, you have velocity on its side, and when you have velocity on your side, you're able to fire shit in a straight line. And when you're able to do that, and you're able to move the cannon or project it where you want, you're gonna have accuracy on your side as well, and we saw that in the test. So I just don't see or foresee the catapult competing with what the siege cannon has. It's just technology kills. There's a reason why they're using cannons up until the 1800s and not catapults. So I gotta go with the siege cannon in this test. Edge Joan of Arc in her siege cannon. Alrighty, now moving on, we have the mid-range weaponry. Joan of Arc is wielding the arbalest, and William the Conqueror is wielding the crossbow. Now, I think the crossbow, although it has the reload time on its side, isn't going to be entirely effective due to the fact that it's a 9th century crossbow against 13th century plate armor. So I'm not sure how well it's going to rip through that plate armor, and because of that, I think the more sure shot is going to win. That's Joan of Arc's arbalest. It gives up reload time for sure because you have to, rewind that and shit. But I think that with its sheer velocity, the bolt will be able to go straight really well, and I think that's not going to curve or anything when it's fired. So I believe it's going to be accuracy due to its velocity. And I think that since you're firing it on chainmail, a 13th century arbalest versus a 9th century set of chainmail, I think it's going to rip through that no problem. And I think it's going to rip into William's vitals or wherever Joan feels like shooting him. So in my opinion, you've got to give this one to the arbalest. And I just think technology is on Joan's side once again. So edge arbalest for mid-range weaponry. Alright, y'all, now moving on, we have short-range weaponry. This test is between William the Conqueror's longsword and Joan of Arc's arming sword. Now, Joan of Arc's one-handed sword should hack or stab away at William the Conqueror and his chainmail no problem when they are doing the tests. But, in the sim, I think that William is just going to have an easy time with Joan of Arc in her arming sword. Once you get into close quarter battles with William, I'm pretty sure that's where he wants to be, due to the fact that Joan of Arc is not going to be very effective in her strategizing. Like I said, she's going to want to finesse her way to a victory, and that means plan, use your technology to your advantage, and just outshoot William the Conqueror. But once you get into the melee world, that is his shit. I think he has the advantage here. Although he has to deal with 13th century plate, I think that he's strong enough to, and I think his sword is good enough to hack or stab away at that. And with it being a two-handed sword, he's how can it not? I think it's gonna generate a lot of force, and I just see it having all the advantage in short range. I think it definitely has the reach, and he might be able to use that to his advantage somehow. So in my opinion, I gotta go with the long sword for William the Conqueror. In short range, I just don't see how the arming sword takes this unless, the test completely sucks and William the Conqueror's dude, cannot hack away at that plain armor. As long as it gets through it, I see it getting the edge. So in my opinion, edge goes to William the Conqueror and his longsword. Alright, y'all, now moving on, we have 2 edges to 1 for Joan of Arc after taking a look at the weapons. Of course, William the Conqueror has the edge in short range, and Joan of Arc has the edge in mid range and long range. Now, I think that with her edges there, her strategy is going to be quite simple. Be a better strategist and just outshoot William the Conqueror. I think William the Conqueror is going to have more so a linear strategy and just try to get this thing up close and nasty and just out melee Joan of Arc and her crew. So that's what William the Conqueror is going to want to do, and I think that we will get a better idea of what's going to go down after we look at the X Factors. So let's do that. Alright, now let's take a look at the first X Factor. This one's logistics. I gotta give this to Joan. She primarily fought where she was at in France. She pretty much didn't go outside her logistical range. She had all her shit with her. Gotta give her the edge here. William the Conqueror goes outside his logistical range, but of course that's where he gets his name, William the Conqueror, after crossing the English Channel and just beating the shit out of England and taking the country and crowning himself king. He still went outside his logistical range. He was successful though. But that being said, I gotta give this one to Joan. All right, folks. Now taking a look at the next X Factor, we have tactics. And because I think Joan of Arc is going to be portrayed as the more savvy of the two when it comes to strategizing, I gotta give her the edge here. I'm not sure if William the Conqueror was, a bad strategist. He probably wasn't. I don't know a heck of a whole lot about the two. I'm just going off what I see. But I just think that Joan's gonna want to have the more complex strategy out of the two, and I think that might score high on, Robert Daly's sim or whatnot. So I'm gonna give her the edge myself in tactics. Alright, y'all, now moving on. Next X Factor, this one is fatigue. I gotta give William Conqueror the edge here. He has more experience, and I think he's more comfortable fighting a prolonged war than Joan is. So my edge goes to William Conqueror in fatigue. Alright, folks, now moving on, we have generalship, the last X Factor, and I think this one goes to William due to the fact that his experience edge, might make a difference in this test. I think Joan of Arc, again, she had the tactics edge, and she must be a good commander herself due to the fact that she somehow got all these people into believing that her role in this 100 Years of War was holy. So, that's huge because she has that charisma on her side. But William must have been charismatic too, because him and his goons, he got his goons to believe that, hey, this shit is actually mine, and they went over and took England. So they're both charismatic, but to me, what separates this shit is the fact that William has experience. I like that experience, and because of that, I'm giving him the edge for generalship. Alright, now let's overview the X Factors. Logistics and tactics go to Joan of Arc. Fatigue and generalship go to William the Conqueror. Now, of course, like another Frenchman in the last battle, he also had logistics and tactics. Joan of Arc has that this time, but unlike Napoleon, I don't think she's going to lose. I have Joan of Arc winning this battle slightly. I say like 55% to 45% in kills. I think her technology is going to be too much for William to handle. I think her tactics are going to, put her in a good position to use that technology effective. So that's my pick, Joan of Arc. I think she'll keep William at bay. Once that shit comes short range, expect William to do a lot of kills with his goons. But again, I gotta go with Joan. That technological gap for me is too vast, and I think if she can keep William at bay, she got this. So that's my pick, Joan of Arc, to win in this episode of Deadliest Warrior. So yeah, that about does it for my preview of episode 24. Hope you guys enjoyed my preview, and I hope you guys enjoyed the episode. Check that out Wednesday, 9 p.m. Central, 10 p.m. Eastern on Spike. Stay tuned for my review right after the episode. And yeah, I guess that about does it for me. Please follow me on Facebook, Tumblr, or Twitter if you guys have that shit. Please subscribe and thumbs up if you haven't already. It really helps a lot. So again, thank you so much for all the support, and take care.